Welcome to Homemaking and Healing. My name is Gabby Peacock, and this channel is a space for me to talk about what I've learned and the experiences I've had in my journey to healing chronic conditions. This October, I celebrated the 1-year anniversary of breaking up with my tonsils for good. When I was preparing for surgery and recovering, one of the things that helped me the most to mentally get through it was watching videos of other adults walking through their own experience. I was very uneducated on the risks of performing this procedure on an adult until I was faced with it. So I also wanted to take the opportunity to spread awareness for those who may go through something similar in the future, or if they need to support a loved one through this surgery. While I discuss this, you are going to watch me prepare some dough for various baked goods and also make homemade pumpkin puree for future recipes. On this channel, I've made a video in the past talking about my TMJD experience and the different treatments that I've had over the past few years in order to address these issues. They're multi-layered, and I've gone through a lot in the past couple years with therapies, with different appliances and procedures, and my tonsillectomy was one of the big ones that we were putting off, but eventually realized that this was absolutely necessary for my health and also the safety of any future baby that we would possibly conceive. My airway was completely blocked by my tonsils being chronically inflamed over the years, and I had not been getting sufficient oxygen, especially when sleeping. And we were most concerned with my ability to carry a baby to term when the Lord wills. So we were warned by my specialist and by an ENT that a tonsillectomy could, for an adult specifically, can carry specific risks, and that the recovery is very brutal. So we prayed and weighed our options, then decided that this was the best course of action. I have gone through a lot of things with my health, and I can testify that this was one of the most brutal recovery experiences I ever went through. The majority of tonsillectomy procedures are performed on children and adolescents for a reason. Removing lymph nodes on an adult that have been there for 20 plus years is more complicated due to the blood flow and to the strength of the tissue. Even on an around-the-clock narcotic, my pain reached to 10, and there were nights where I was begging for God to take me. The Lord delivered me from the first 10 days of recovery, which were the hardest, and He slowly gave me my strength back over the course of about a month. Once I got out of the risk of possible hemorrhage, which was our biggest worry, I was able to return to typical physical activity. I only had a minor bleed on day 3 post-op, and thankfully I was still able to keep hydrated and my strength up while I was recovering. One thing that I'm very glad that I did during my month of recovering from surgery was keep very detailed notes of my recovery process, including what I ate, my pain levels, and things that were helpful for me. So I wanted to share some of those things on today's video. The day of surgery was really surreal for me. I was mostly concerned about getting put under and worried that I would be anxious, and sure enough, I was very anxious, but they did give me anti-anxiety meds twice, once an hour before surgery, and then right before they put me under, they also gave me another dose, which really helped me. And I know that there's a lot of people that talk about feeling really anxious for any surgery being put under, like what that will feel like or be like. But thankfully, going under was not that difficult for me, but I did have a really hard time coming out of the anesthesia. I felt really disoriented and anxious, and also I couldn't talk. So that was something that was really hard for me. But thankfully, all of the doctors and the staff and nurses were just so kind and so nice, and they made me feel really comfortable. And my husband was also there pre and post-op, which helped me a lot. And they immediately gave me a ton of popsicles, which helped me kind of snap out of the anxiety. Other things that really helped me with my recovery process was ice, just ice all over my head, neck, my face, any type of ice packs, also sucking on ice and crunching ice, anything that was really cold, popsicles, smoothies, anything that was cold was so helpful for me. Another thing that I wish I would have listened to at first was laying off all kinds of dairy, because when you're recovering from your tonsillectomy, you overproduce mucus. And so I did end up laying off dairy because I noticed that the mucus was like building up and it was really hard for me to swallow or breathe. And so when I laid off the dairy, it helped me a lot more. I stuck with soft foods and liquids for the first 10 days of recovery, and that included mashed potatoes and bone broth and soups and scrambled eggs, smoothies, and I tried to sneak as much protein in there as possible because I just felt really sick. The narcotics that I was on for 2 weeks was really difficult for me, and so I had like a lot of GI issues, and so I tried to keep my strength up and get as much protein in as possible while I was recovering. My pain levels throughout the first 2 weeks ranged from a 4 to a 10, and it was typically in between my pain medication doses is when my pain would spike the most. I would say that the feeling I was experiencing felt like either acid was being poured down my throat or it felt like knives. It kind of changed depending on the scabbing and the part of the healing process that I was at. What helped us the most is to have alarms for medications, for the narcotic that they prescribed for me, and then for Tylenol in between to help manage my pain. And then when we decided to take me off of the pain meds, one of the pieces of advice that I'm really glad that we took is that we slowly weaned me off of the narcotic because I had been on it for so long during the recovery process. We were really concerned about possible withdrawal symptoms. And so I'm glad that we weaned myself off of the narcotic slowly. And thankfully, I did not have any bad withdrawals outside of maybe a low-grade fever. Another thing that really helped me with pain management was making sure that I was having fluids, even if it was just 1 or 2 sips of water every single hour, even in the middle of the night, because keeping the throat hydrated really helped with keeping the pain levels low, because when it was drying out is when the pain would escalate. Also, another bonus of taking a sip of water at every hour is it actually helps lower your risk of hemorrhage because you are keeping that area hydrated. Like I said earlier in the video, I did have a minor bleed on day 3 of recovery, and it happened while I woke up in the middle of the night and I was choking/coughing too hard. And this was because of the overproduction of mucus and also the inflammation in my throat. So we ended up going to the emergency room, and the staff was very kind, and I got a cortisone shot to help with the inflammation, and it really helped a lot. So I didn't have any more bleeds after that, and that was the one thing that we were the most concerned about. Overall, the hardest part of the recovery was over by day 15. I went to a follow-up appointment and I was cleared to eat real food again. I was cleared to sleep flat again because they recommend that you sleep elevated to help reduce risk of hemorrhage. I also was able to finally start talking almost completely normal by this point, and I was weaning myself off of the narcotic. And I think my pain at that point was around a 3, so it was manageable. And that's why we decided that we could safely wean off of the meds after speaking to my doctor. Like I said earlier, it has been a year since I had this surgery, and I could say that my life has drastically improved. My sleep has improved. I'm not waking up in the middle of the night anymore. My sleep score test for my sleep studies have improved a ton, and I also am able to work out longer and with more intensity without losing breath. So that was a huge win for me after feeling like I would lose my breath after even short walks. I am now able to work out longer and harder and breathe through my nose the majority of the time, which is a huge blessing. So I could say that the surgery was completely worth it on so many fronts, but it was still really hard, and it required a lot of support. I'm really grateful for the community that I had around me that was able to drop off food and give visits to us and help us and give us moral support during this time, because it was a really dark time for us. But thankfully, the Lord brought us through, and my health has drastically improved since then. So I think it was absolutely worth any of the difficult recovery. And in the middle of it, I wish I could have told myself that things are going to get better, but the mental part of it is honestly the hardest, especially when you feel isolated and alone and you can't talk and you can't eat regularly for a long time. It's really mentally challenging. So I recommend, if you have somebody in your life that's going to go through this procedure, that you check up on them, even if it's just a text, letting them know that you're praying and thinking about them, because it was really hard for me. And the one thing that kept me going was my support system. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this was a blessing to you, and I hope to see you next time. Please let me know in the comments if you know anybody that has gone through an adult tonsillectomy, or if it's something you're considering for yourself, or if you have one scheduled and that's why you're watching this video. I would love to offer you some support and answer any other questions you may have on this topic. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to watch more, please like this video, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye.